I was only 6 years old when I realized that life was about more than just Hot Wheels and Barbies. It was more about answering questions. Questions like, don't you come from a broken family? It was then that I developed a better relationship with self-pity than with bravery. Because the bags under my eyes told stories that were only described as, Are, bichari. I felt like a child trapped in a mirror maze where every reflection of myself that I bumped into felt different than the other. If one was a child trying to live a normal life, the other was a girl realizing that it was all a lie. Now, almost everything a 6-year-old says, does, or feels can be petty. But tell me, is it normal that I didn't find even one of those reflections pretty? I was 10 when I realized that happiness was not just expensive gifts and musical chairs at birthday parties. It was actually coming back home from school to have my mother take my bag, caress my face and say, "Aaj khana apne haathon se khilaungi." Happiness to the 10-year-old me was every time I ran into my dad's arms after what felt like an eternity and stayed there as he held me, because I realized that is how love feels. Now I know that I was too tender to feel things with such great intensity, but every time my brother tried to usher me through the roads that even he had never seen, I knew that he'd be my anchor whenever my heart needed to stay steady. Before I knew it, I was 12 and I reckoned that black and white were not just photos and movies, but also a degree used to measure human beauty, where black defined ugly, brown defined acceptable, and white defined pretty. In order to go from ugly to an enchantress, I did everything right from fairness creams to besan masks to rubbing chemical scrubs against my skin hard enough for my skin to peel off, only to grow again in a shade that would be bright enough to blind the eyes that stared holes into my soul and put my color to shame. Now those eyes included mine because every time I stared into the mirror, I despised my thighs, my hips, my waist and my face. So tell me, am I not the only one who should be blamed? For I never really saw the fine line between self-love and self-hate. It dawned upon me when I turned 14 in the blink of an eye and found the girl in the mirror wearing her shorts higher, her tops tighter, and amongst all the people spreading hatred, she stared at me devastatingly because even I failed to love her. When I was 16, I expressed my disgust by producing red lines on my wrists, and all I could see in the mirror was the toxicity for her that spread like a cancer. Every single day, I watched my reflection say, "Help me, please." And yet, I failed to acknowledge that my love was all that she needed to heal. I'm 20 now, and all that I have left are scars that belong to my past, so I ask myself, was the pain really worth going that far? My brother once told me that I was really strong for even taking the smallest of steps and that it didn't matter if I couldn't run. And that's when I reckoned that all along I was the one holding all the hatred against the temple of my head like a gun. And now as I turn around to see how far I've made it in the journey, it's got me thinking. From where they started, they could never stop running. But from where I finished, one can always start again and keep walking. So my message to everyone listening to me right now is that mirrors can lie. And the beholder's eyes are not where the beauty lies. It lies in every bit of every inch of the cellulite on your thighs. It lies in the innocent sparkle of your dark circle complemented eyes. Your beauty shows itself best when something inside you breaks and it's your soul that cries. Because you wipe your tears, put on that bulletproof exterior and walk right out with a gorgeous smile. So if you still hate yourself, please tell me why. Now don't alter yourselves because all that your fairy tales have taught you are big fat lies. So in the end, I just want to say, mirror, mirror on the wall, you've made me fall in love with all my flaws. No one can ever be the fairest of all. So I'm going to trash your logic, for it makes no sense at all.